Good early morning, YouTube. Or evening, whatever it is for you. Happy, what are we, Friday? I'm getting a little turned around, being quarantined for a week. Yeah, Friday. Happy Friday to everybody. If it is your Friday, happy day to you, whatever it is. Happy night, evening. I'm coming on because the energy is calmer. I've been waking up, of course. I've had a lot going on. So my twin flame journey was a nightmare. It unfolded live for all of you to see, unfortunately. And some things happened in this twin flame journey that we're going to talk about tonight. But Spirit actually has, so Spirit wants you to know that they usually try to come at you with very lovey, peaceful messages. This message is a little bit more serious from Spirit. Like, they really want you to take note of what I have to say. When I first had my awakening, I was upset. I'm like, nobody's going to listen to me. I felt like I was in a nightmare. I kept saying and repeating, nobody's going to listen to me. I need my master's. I need a title because that's the only thing people listen to. I'm a female. Nobody listens to me. People generally think I don't know what the hell I'm doing, yet I'm way 20 steps ahead of them usually. And so that's the consensus, right? Like, I was very stressed out. I tried to give my gifts back, and I told Spirit for like a week, what the hell are we doing? Nobody's going to listen to me. What do I need? I need my master's. I need this. I need that. Truth is, I don't need anything. Why people choose not to listen to me has to deal with what Spirit says is in that dense energy. The need to want to be right, the need to want to be just, the need to want to be simple, the need to want to be not judged. And that's what Spirit is saying. That's why people don't listen to what I have to say. One of my recent videos, I'm going to pull it up here. It was the one where Malachi came through with a message in the end. And in that video, I discussed how I was standing up above everybody, the goddess that I am, with the gods. That's what they showed me. That's what Malachi was showing me. And they were asking you to not think that we have lost the war, but it's not exactly a war, but it was more like protecting what is ours as we get rid of these energies. So it was the one that said, let's see. Let me find the title of it, just because it's an important one. And this is one that again went missed. And it's like so many of these things. So I question my own messages. Just like when I woke up and I told Spirit, nobody's going to listen to me, right? So it was this one. It was the Malachi bringing ascension message in the end and important info. Okay. And when I saw that one, the visual that I saw was me standing up with the gods and them asking everybody to stand in protection of our energy. And I'm looking back at everything that happened with my twin flame, all of the message that I deliver across my channel, all of these kinds of things. And it's like Spirit couldn't be more blatant and in all y'all's face. But apparently the delivery person is what everybody questions. Kind of like when I did that last video when I was drinking in the midnight and I was very upset at what happened. The reality is my twin flame decided to anchor into darkness. He was dying and he was killing me. Spirit actually had to step in and save me. That's what was happening in that meditation yesterday when they were praying for me. Was it yesterday? I don't know. And I had to process everything that happened. This was me literally processing everything that happened to me. Do I still think this is love? I don't know. I know what they've showed me is that every turn he moved, she would stick her daggers in. Okay, so she was watching him, she was watching me, and evil has a way of making sure all of its little slithers are embedded deep, right? So anytime we try to get out, they embed deeper, and that's what darkness does. It is manipulative, and it sneaks behind you, and it irks into your system. That's what it does, and I was literally getting physically ill, and this explains so much for me now. And I didn't understand it because I wasn't the one physically doing these things. I was on a twin flame journey all by myself. But the thing is when he and I connected, she went tenfold. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like this darkness positioned itself in such a way, and as soon as we connected, this darkness went tenfold. Spirit, however, did not expect my twin flame to choose that. Spirit thought my twin flame would be stronger than that. And so it is such that, spiritually speaking, he is being questioned at this time to whether or not we are still twin flames. And that's kind of how I feel about it. I feel like he is like in limbo up in the spiritual realm. But it's not like, there wasn't a part of him in there that didn't want this. So he was trying to get out. It was a battle. It truly was a battle. And that is what Spirit was showing me. It's just, where was he, right? Like, why did he anchor into love? But this is what Malachi had said. It was like, it's super important to protect our energy. And I'm looking at all these things going, man, what do I need for people to listen to me, Spirit? Why in these whole 2 years have most people shunned away from me rather than listened to what you have been bringing forth through me for them? Or I have been bringing forth in my healings and meditations and movement of the earth. And people took it in judgment and lack of understanding. Spirit does acknowledge fear. Of course you'd have some fear. Who wouldn't, to the unknown and misunderstood and things that we don't understand, right? But what do we do with that? We should look into it further rather than just assume and judge. But in that video, Malachi had said, please stand in protection. We need to protect the energy that is ours. It's not that we are not winning, but we need to protect the energy that is ours while the darkness leaves. And we literally missed God's love coming down to earth because of this. And that is the reality. Now, my vibration is rising higher and higher and higher since that last meditation, so please do not assume that I'm not working on my vessel or anything of the such, because I am. But I'm going to keep it real with you guys. Like, my twin flame really did anchor into darkness and almost killed me. I was literally dying. I was waking up crying and wailing and begging the gods for help. I was literally crying to God every night, help me, like saying it out loud, help me. I was reaching out to my twin flame. I was begging for help every which way I went. Something was wrong. It was not a normal, just twin flame clearing energies. And I couldn't figure it out. And it happened all in these videos. And all I kept getting was a lot of judgment. I feel it. And Spirit's telling me this. Spirit's actually kind of upset. And that's the truth, you guys. So please don't hate the messenger again, right? But Spirit is actually a little bit not upset. They don't like that word. But they're disappointed with all of the judgment, the lack of listening, the lack of open hearts, the lack of just simple, even if you don't understand, just being in the fact that you can see a little clearer or you can see some things. Well, she's right on this, so why not this? I didn't expect this, you guys. I'm sorry. I was coming from a different place, but Spirit has something to say. Because my life went into jeopardy. And darkness is very real. And it is being eradicated as we speak. And if you don't pay attention, if you don't listen to your inner knowing and your inner source and your inner nudges, you just may go where you don't want to go. Because somebody almost took me down. Because they wanted to anchor into something false. It physically made me ill, spiritually made me ill, and I was crying for help. I was begging for help. And you want to know, Spirit saved me. Spirit stepped in when they were praying over me. I've processed that meditation because, again, I didn't know what was coming. I begged for help, and that's what came through. I love what Spirit does through me, and I personally love who the hell I am. And I'm going to start believing in what I say more. Whether you guys do or not, whether anybody on here is questioning me anymore, I will not question myself, because looking back at my videos, the warnings were there, the messages were there for him to see, for everybody to see the reality of these things, for everybody to learn that these things are very real. This ascension is very real. These are unprecedented times, and it is now. And we miss the mark for God's love coming onto earth because he was so into his ego and his dick, and this is the truth. And he never even took the time to get to know his own twin flame or to listen to his internal knowing, because Spirit is acknowledging that his soul was crying out for help. His soul was trying to nudge him, and every time he would step into that, she would take him down, but he would just go. When all of the messages were clearly presented in my videos, I don't care about my delivery. How about this? You guys don't know who I am, what I feel, what I'm expressing, and even if you can't fathom it, doesn't make it not real. Even if we can't fathom the fact that I'm one of the gods here changing the world, and we are in a battle of good and evil, and we are eradicating evil, that's not on me. But I would appreciate you guys, if you believe in some stuff that I say, please listen to all. And that's what Spirit's asking. Listen to all things that I say, not just what you choose to believe in. Okay, if one thing is real, if I can prove one thing, then I can prove them all. And just because something isn't proven in the moment doesn't mean it won't be proven to you tenfold. And that's also what Spirit is saying. So this is really a message out of love, but it's also a message out of concern from Spirit, not from me. Because this is not something I would say. I wouldn't care. I'm one of those that's like, you know what, nobody likes me, right? Guess I'll go eat worms. Big fat juicy ones. No, sorry, that was a song we came up with when I was a kid, or came from somewhere back in the day. So forgive that. That was not real. I don't eat worms. Scratch that. It was just a silly song from when I was a kid. But that kind of shows you, right? Nobody likes me, where? But it's not about that, you guys. I literally gave warnings in my videos. Spirit kept trying to say things. Why is it everybody doesn't listen to me? Is it that everybody doesn't listen to me, or is it a lot of darkness just trying to come through and take me down? I'm not sure. But nope, Spirit says there's a lot of judgment, and that's what they keep going to. Everybody just chooses to judge me and assume that I'm wrong, and assume that I'm crazy, and assume that it's just not going to happen. Assume that it's just me talking out of my ass. Why they do that, I don't know. Do I need a master's behind my title? Or how about the fact that I've actually had over 5 years of college experience and education that I did on my own while being a single mother, online and working and surviving a major abuse from every which angle I came from? Does that earn me a credential to be listened to? Or the fact that everything I say telepathically, psychically, has generally speaking been proven? What is it that I need to do for people to start listening to me? And Spirit is just, they're tired. Because this last battle that we just had to fight with my twin flame journey is bigger than you guys realize. We missed the mark for God's love coming down to earth on time to help eradicate the stuff that we're transitioning into with this ascension. As we go in ascension, darker energies cannot stay here. Do you think those darker energies are fun as we're eradicating them off of a planet? Whether you believe this or not, look around you. Look around you. What happened to Hollywood? What happened to everything? Remember we used to have movies coming out like every Friday. You guys, everything has changed. You want to blame it on vid? Nope. Wake up. Wake up before it's too late. Because if there's something you're not listening to, Spirit's urging you to listen now. And they're asking you that if all of these people, you guys have had over 1,000 views on my videos in the last few days, yet I don't have that many subscribers. So what does that tell you? A lot of people watch and judge. They don't want to post, they don't want to comment, and this is what Spirit is showing me, because they don't want to be judged, or they're judging me. They're like waiting for the bottom to fall out, and that's what Spirit is saying. And all the while, I almost fucking died. like my soul was literally being sucked dry because my twin flame anchored into darkness. That darkness was ready and waiting. Just like when I went with Sean, and he can even reiterate this really happened right before we did the Jesus things. We were in Cripple Creek, and we got lost, and we ended up in the bottom of the stairwell. And he was even talking like we was just talking fun, we're gonna have our ghost ministry and be like ghost hunters, and we were just being silly. The next thing I knew, I took a turn, I opened a door, and I was in the industrial stairwell to this big building. And it was old, and there was this thing, and I got so much fear, and I didn't want to look at it, so I closed down my sight, but the glimpse that I got was it had tentacles, and it was black, and it started chasing us, and I kid you not, this was when I was still kind of swollen from my heart way back on my birthday. I bolted it up 3 flights of stairs without even realizing what I was doing. I looked at Sean and I said, "Run!" And he was in front of me, and I started pushing him. And we bolted up 3 flights of stairs so fast. I just boom. I was up at those stairs, and we were out the door. And then I took the wrong turn again and had to go back. Oh my God, it was horrible. I was so scared. I've never been so scared in my life. that was a dark, and I've never experienced that before. And then the next day we did the Jesus thing. And I don't care if you believe that or not. Did you watch the video? Don't judge. I was recorded. So unless you watch the video, unless you see what I do, unless you were there, how can you judge? But again, it's like, these things are very real, and I'm learning that. It's not like I grew up going, oh, these things are so real all the time. I never believed in that stuff. I kind of had experiences when I was a kid, but it never scared me, and so I just didn't understand the hype. I thought there was a lot of false around, and there was. There was a palm readers, things like that. I didn't believe in it. I mean, they have their thing, right? But it's just me, personally, I was not into it. So I'm not coming from a place of that. I'm coming from a place of all this is new and crazy, but it is very freaking real. And the fact of the matter is that people don't listen to me. Maybe they're afraid of me. It's all about judgment, and that is what Spirit is saying. I've been judged so deeply by my own twin flame, by everybody who I wouldn't say, Spirit says not everybody, but they're actually acknowledging probably about 85% of the people that watch my channel judge me or stand in ego, rather than being open-hearted and watching this all unfold and taking my advice so they can ascend in their highest possible light. We miss the mark on God's love coming down because people chose not to listen to me and be in judgment and stay in lower energies and lower vibrations. And it wasn't all just like everybody, so please don't take this like as a negative thing, but Spirit is frustrated because, you guys, if you listen to that meditation, the Galactic Council came in, everybody was surrounding me and praying for me. We literally had to pull him out of the depths of hell. So he was literally losing his connection to Source, and so was I because of it, because we're intertwined. The moment I connected to him, she dug her daggers in, and instead of him being a man and seeing who I am, he didn't. He barely did. So there's a lot in question right now. It's a serious, serious thing. Something is not right. We need to balance this scale. Now my vibration is not so low, so I'm not just coming from a place of woe is me, although you guys don't realize how hurt and broken I was and alone that I am. And this is also educational. And so right now we are where we're at. Like, we missed a mark. It was a very, very, very crucial, important mark, the biggest one in my opinion. And I've never missed a mark, and it's because somebody chose not to listen to me and almost killed me. If he doesn't want to ascend, that's on him, but that's not normal, because when you're twin flames, you merge to ascend. Look it up, that's what you have to do, and these are unprecedented times. So he almost took us both into a place of non-existence where we've never been before. And Spirit's acknowledging that. So they would have had to do something they've never done before, and they were trying to get basic, like, all the energies together to make it okay. And that's what they were telling me. And that's scary as shit for me, because I protect my vessel more than that. I protect my energies more than that. I am love and I am light, and I deserved for it to be right and to have God's love brought down to this earth. Now, don't get me wrong, we do all make mistakes. It was a battle for him. It was, and he was not strong because of the fact that his vibration's low and he has been where he's at for so long, and I see that. And it was easy for her to just take him down. I am acknowledging that for him. The problem is he stood in judgment for so long against me, and ego, that he missed his mark for this ascension and for love. And when I talk about this, Spirit is also acknowledging, and I'm acknowledging, that most of you figure, oh, it's just about this twin flame and love. No, this was about bringing down mass forms of love for this ascension and this transition that you all are about to witness. That you all are about to witness. Let me repeat, that you all are about to witness. And we missed the mark. And I'm not trying to place fear, because that's not what Spirit does. They're saying they're going to do everything in their power to make it okay. They are drawing back our light that he took of mine and gave to the darkness, which is not a good thing. Like, it's a serious thing, you guys. So not only is he going through what he's going through, he's in, they don't call it judgment, but he is in what they call like protocol status, where they're all kind of just going over everything. They're all discussing where his heart is, I guess is what you can say. The Spirit doesn't judge. They look at it for where your heart is. But they also tell me that my twin flame is going to come back to me. So I have hope. I do still have love for him. I realized this yesterday. The connection has not been severed. It's still part of our purpose. And so it's not something that we can just necessarily deviate from, which is why Spirit stepped in and pulled him back from the depths of hell. Literally. You can see it in the meditation. Not hell, but dark things that are not of the light is the best way to describe that. You anchor into things that are not of the light. And they get in your head, just like Spirit said. And they make you judge things that are of the light. Which is what a lot of people, 80 to 90% of people, have done to me over this last year to 2 years. I have not been on YouTube forever. It's only been about a year. My awakening was about, a little over 2 years now. Going into third year. So, these are unprecedented times. And I guess my frustration is when I put out a video days prior to all this happening, warnings upon warnings, people sit in a place of not knowing or judgment, and not everybody. Please hear me. It's not all of you. I love you guys. You guys have been my family. And I know that these things are not normal. I know that these things are bigger than us. We're acknowledging that as well. But it's like, why believe some things that I say and not others? And this takes me back to my awakening. When I first had my awakening in that public forum in the Angel Alchemy Academy, and I was begging for help, and I was telling Spirit, nobody's listening to me, and that lady Corinne told me, you don't need help, and it kicked me like 10 steps backwards, like she was not nice to me as soon as I woke up. It's like, I kept asking, why won't nobody listen to me? This isn't good. Take my gifts back. I don't want them, Spirit. We have a problem. Nobody's going to listen to me. I need my masters. I went into a panic because I don't have a title for people to listen to me with. Like doctor, even though I've been through a lot of med school and I had a 4.0. Don't know that, did ya? They had to quiz me twice on my med terminology. We had 300 words, prefixes, and then definitions, and they all had to be spelled correctly. And I passed it in half the time everybody else did with 100%. And so they retested me watching me because they thought I cheated. Like, a lot of people don't know how smart I really am and how connected I truly am. And yet, because I don't have that title, people don't even give me a chance. And this is a continual thing. And I was extremely frustrated, and I gave everybody a chance. And because I know as a master that not everybody has mastered everything. We're all here learning. I'm still learning. And so I give space for that all the time, to the detrimental point of myself, because my twin flame risked both of our lives. Because his ego, his pride, I think is what it was. I keep saying he was pussy whipped. Spirit is wanting me to correct that. That's not the case. Was his ego. It was the fact that he was in judgment and probably in a place that I would hurt him again. Okay, so it was coming from that, and so I'm correcting what I'm saying towards my twin flame. So please hear that. I am sorry. I am a female, and I'm scorned. Okay, so let's just erase that. And I do see, and I got chills when I said that, and so I want to throw that out there, is that it was coming more from a place from him where I heard him a year ago, where he was afraid. He was afraid to anchor into me and be hurt again, is what they're saying. And so please hear that part. I am fixing what I said. It's not because he cared about her more. It's not because he was whipped or anything of that nature. As a matter of fact, Spirit is correcting me and telling me that he does love me. He was scared. So I'm fixing that. And who wouldn't be scared? If you had all this information, and I'm acknowledging that as well. Spirit is too. If you had all this information coming at you, all these things happening to you all at once, it is scary. It is scary, especially when you don't know where to get the answers, because everybody around you is a lower vibration. So we get that. But why believe some things I say and not others? Right? And so it is kind of like a wake-up call. It is kind of like a reality check of what are you truly believing in? Where are your motives? That's what Spirit wants to know. Where are your motives? Right? Where are our motives? 222. We need balance. We need balance in what we're doing, what we're thinking, what we're saying, what we're feeling. Oh, also too, when we were in Cripple Creek, Sean and I, and we saw that dark entity, and I got back up to the hotel, you guys, all of a sudden dark thoughts started creeping in my head. And my vibration was so high because it normally is not that low like what he put me into. So that was not a normal place for me to be recently. But I could see the thoughts creep into my head. So all of a sudden it was, oh, I'm crazy, my channel's a joke. It was all of those thoughts, right? Like, oh, nobody, the spiritual stuff is not real. It's all, like, those thoughts were going through my head. And I could see it. And I even told Sean, I'm like, oh my God, all of a sudden this, like, dark thoughts are taking over my head. And the moment I said that, it went away. Like, it quickly went away, and I got chills. And it's just knowing, being able to know what is not of you and what is. How do you do that? Pay more attention to who you are, to what's important to you, to what makes sense for you. We focus more on judgment and the external and what people are going to think of us when we do these things. We focus more on what we need to do, what our next step is for others to accept us, or for those kinds of things, rather than who am I? What am I feeling? What makes me happy? What do my insides feel like? You want to know what sparked my awakening, y'all? Is when my dad died, I watched him die slowly, okay? I not only watched him die, I had to make the decision to pull the plug, which he wasn't supposed to wake up from. Then he did wake up because I begged him to wake up. Little did we know he woke up, which they called a miracle. Then he was a DNR, do not resuscitate. So then they put him in hospice care, and I had to watch him slowly die for a week, making sure he had everything he needed and all the love I can give. Because prior to that, he told me I was a piece of shit and go to hell. And so I hadn't really talked to him in quite a long time prior. And that was the final straw of all my abuse and all my stuff. And I woke up because I went to therapy, and the therapist told me I was a really good person and that nothing was really wrong with me other than I had OCD and severe PTSD, especially from my abuse, okay, narcissistic abuse that I grew up with and came out of. And something was still wrong. And so I went internal, you guys. I went internal. My chest was hurting really bad, and I couldn't get it to stop. And the pain was so intense. Not like my heart, like it was like a heart broken, right? Like it was just so bad. And so I started slowly breathing air up my body into my heart. And the more I did that, the more calmer my body felt. I went internal. And that made me do other things. Then the next thing I know, my brain was more able to pick up on these things that were coming my way and go, I wonder what that is. Or these subtle messages that I'm hearing and these cues that I started seeing because I was internal. I was focusing on my breath. I was able to pick up on these cues that Spirit was sending me and messages and see all these other things and tune out of the external chaos. And the image that I'm getting is much like when you are in a busy city and you hear all this traffic and all this noise, and it's trying to tune in to the softer, subtle hues and cues of the environment. And that, my friends, is what Spirit says we are not doing. So this message is from love and light, but also a wake-up call and an attempt to still make everything all right. Because if anybody spent time to get to know me, you would know that everything I say is real. Everything I've done is real. I am built from love. I'm kind as heck. And even if I come off one way, know that I stand in strength. And in the midst of it, I saved my twin flame. And I'm proud of that. I can say that I helped reach into the barrels of darkness and pull him the frick out before he his light was turned off. Because he was disconnecting from source. And he was taking me with him And that is not somewhere I can go. Or I deserve to go, for that matter. So that is the matter of that fact, is that I would not have gone there with him. It would have been something that's never been done before, which is a severance of twin flames like that. It's never been done before. And that's also what Spirit's acknowledging, is you guys are not seeing what just took place and what basically happened and how we missed that mark. Spirit is saying it's going to be okay, because they are kind of quickly moving things around, because they have that ability. It's like we had to go up to the highest source and make everything possible. And that's what Spirit's acknowledging. And we are calling back our light that was given to the wrong places. And every moment that is happening, I am feeling better and better. And I'll tell you what, I've already told Spirit, and she better stay away from me. And they said that it's been divinely intervened, and I am safe. Because this entity, this thing my twin flame angered into, is 2 doors down. So I am divinely protected. It is divinely intervened, and I am now safe. And that is what Spirit is telling me last night. So I was able to go to sleep. I went to bed early, and of course I just kind of wake up and I get messages, okay? And so this was part of the message. It's like, you guys, we're missing the mark on listening. We're missing the mark, and we're staying in judgment. Judgment comes from ego. So I feel like there's definitely more acceptance we need. Radical acceptance. Because y'all are about to see some really big movements. You've already been seeing them, and they're happening every day. And you know that Landria Onkachik yesterday, she even put, Jesus, take the wheel, because it's time. Like, you guys, it's like as soon as we go into the biggest mark possible of bringing God's love and light to ascend, it was stopped by dark. It really truly was. He was taking my energy, taking his life, and giving it to them. And I have to acknowledge, because of the female in me says that he was just whipped and he chose her over me. And Spirit is saying that is not exactly the case. He was scared. He was still hurt, and he was scared. He was overwhelmed. And the fact of the matter is that she kept sticking her daggers in every time he would try to get out and reach out to me or look at me or look towards me or get upset because Sean was here. And so I am acknowledging that in a public forum. I still love this man. But you guys, it's like, why can't we see these things? Why are we not listening? Because Malachi gave the warning, what was it, like a week ago? That we have to be in a place of protecting our energy. Super important right now. Not of fear, but in protecting what is yours. And I kept pulling that in those cards too. Like, remember the Mother Earth one? I've been saying this over and over and over, and Spirit is acknowledging that 80% of you don't listen to me. And this caused me to almost get sick, and we were losing things we shouldn't be losing. We were giving away things that were detrimental to be giving away, and we missed a mark that was a big, huge mark to miss, like almost the biggest one. And it's not the end. It's still going to be okay. That's what Spirit's telling me. Because I don't like saying that either. Like, that was the most upsetting part to me. Is that, if you guys didn't notice, I don't like to miss a mark. Like, everything I've done was subconsciously during my awakening, and I still made my marks. It didn't matter how confusing. It didn't matter how I didn't understand it. I did what I had to do. I listened to Spirit. I taught myself how to do these videos. I taught myself how to do binaural beats. I taught myself everything you see in front of you that I do. I pretty much taught myself how to do. I did not learn anything that I do in the Angel Alchemy Academy that you see in front of you. I taught myself during my awakening and through all judgment. Because how was I supposed to learn all these things? Nobody would teach me. So I tried to go to massage school too, because I'm a healer with my hands. And I'm like, well, I didn't finish that license, because lo and behold, I was actually going to that school 2 years ago. My husband at the time stopped me. He didn't like me touching people, because I knew I had something there. And so then I tried to go back to massage school, and she straight went crazy on me, and it was the weirdest experience I've ever had, and I somehow couldn't get into the school. It's like, you guys aren't. How else do we express that things are magical, things are moving, things are changing. But things are not what you've always thought they were. Things are not always what they seem. And it's super important to learn to be free. And that's kind of the gist of it, right? It's like, instead of being in judgment and assuming or anything of that nature, allow yourself to be free in your thoughts and possibilities and options, and maybe step into a little bit of that silent nudge, the quieter nudge. You know, instead of listening to all the hustle and bustle and all the loud noises that are right in your face, right? Because I could have, you're crazy, don't do these things, you don't know what you're doing, your videos suck, because that's what I kept hearing at first. When I first started doing these videos and I would post them to the Angel Alchemy Academy to get praise or even somebody telling me, hey, that's cool, do this, I would feel a lot of backstabbing, and they didn't like them. I was not doing good, like they judged them, they wouldn't follow my channel. And that's what I have been battling through. And that brings me all the way up to what just happened to me. It's like the messages were there, the warnings were there, and yet people are not listening to me. And my education is quite high. Not to mention I have all this embedded spiritual knowledge. Like I said, I just had an awakening and all of a sudden taught myself how to do these things. And maybe my first one wasn't perfect, but I learned from it, and I'm like, oop, I'll do this next time, I'll do this next time, I got this, and I just put everything together just like this, because I learned like this. It's like I don't read a whole book, I need to read a few pages, and I know the whole book. I have a very quick processing mind, but people don't know these things, because why? Because they judge. Why do they judge? Do I need to have a title? Do I need to come off in such a way to where maybe I don't let you see me be vulnerable, and then everybody thinks that I'm an influencer, and maybe they listen to what I say. But the reality is everybody goes low. Everybody has hard days. This man took me to a place I've never been, and my soul was being eaten alive. And so, yeah, I went low, and I was begging for help, but it's the reality of what it was. And that's okay. And I did beg for help, and I was taking the necessary steps to pull out of it, and you can see that, and Spirit stepped in, helped through me, we intervened, and everything is feeling better. Since I did that meditation, I feel better, and I can see how much it was killing my vessel. My body was going down. Or right before that all happened, I was super healthy again, and super skinny again, and getting prettier and prettier by the day. And then all of a sudden, he was giving my light to her, which was God's light, okay? So this is serious stuff. And instead of being in judgment and going, why is she doing another video? Or here's another video where she's not being the highest vibration. Or here's another video where she's doing this. Or it's like, listen to everything I have to say. Maybe you are judging because when you think that every healer is always in a high vibration, you are out of your mind. A high vibration is important. But when we go into releasing, we go lower. When things happen, it can go lower. And what was happening to me took mine down. But that doesn't mean it's not repairable. That doesn't mean that I'm not working on it on a daily. And these are things that Spirit's telling you guys. It's like, don't you see like the roller coaster of life, right? Like we're always going up and down. And it's super important to unite in unity and love. And that's what that God's love bringing down was supposed to do, and we missed the mark. So no wonder we're all struggling. And I know this sounds crazy, but it's absolutely real. My physical vessel got ill, I felt it, and then he was doing what he was doing by giving that light to her. It wasn't just that he was blocking it, you guys. He was giving it to her. She saw it coming. She would stick her little tentacles in and was sucking the life force out. And he was literally being cut off from source, which was cutting me off from source, or at least attempting to. And the Galactic Council and the masters all had to step in and were surrounding me and praying for me in that video, but they weren't just praying, they were doing the work. So they are prepared to do whatever they need to do, because these are not normal things happening, and we've got to be careful. So Spirit is saying it's not that we haven't won, but it is very much so at the surface and still a battle until it's done. So be mindful of what's coming your way. Be mindful of those gentler, quieter nudges that are deep inside in your solar plexus, or that you can only listen to if you know how to tune in, because that's where the light is. that darkness is very loud and in your face right now. And I'll be damned if anybody else affects me because they don't want to listen to me. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still in a place of love. And I have faith that the angels are going to redirect and make everything all right. But it's detrimental to me that we missed that mark. That was a very, very, very big mark of love and light. And it has to be here to protect us and take us into higher energies. That's what's going to bring us into higher energies that we need to ascend to. So it's super important. It still has to get done. And the thing is, you guys, is I can't do it with anybody else. My twin flame is a Pleiadian, just like I am. He is from the places that I am. He is like me. It takes both of our energy combining with the twin flame unity. We were supposed to do that together. And so that is why he is in like what you call a review to where his heart is. Because he literally stabbed. It's like, to me, it's like the worst betrayal. And I don't want to really say that, but it's true. Kind of like John the Apostle. Like you take the light and you give it to the darkness. You let them shroud you over repeatedly without that fight to get out. And it's like, why? Where is your heart? And so that's what they call a thing. It's a review. It's not judgment. It's where's your heart? Is it too far gone or is it just right? And yesterday, so I'm not going to say that, okay, so what they're showing me is, okay, so he did his review. He still has to take the actions to match, and so that's where he's at. But I did get to protect him with Archangel Michael with a blue bubble, and so it's like, you know, trying to mend and make everything all right, and he's processing. But I'm definitely hurt, you know, like it did not need to go down that way. And if everybody just listened to what I say, they would have seen it. Like he would have seen it, and Spirit is acknowledging that because they talked to him over and over and over. And even that video with Malachi coming through, that was an important one. And it wasn't just for me, though. It's like for all of you, too. These are very real, and any last-ditch effort to get you to do something to take some of your light away will occur. Okay. So it's just super important to stand in protection right now, so we can get through these energies and what's coming on the earth with the water, with the transitions. It's very real. Have you guys not paid attention to everything? I do. I pay attention to what I need to pay attention to because I go into the silence. I'm more quiet. I can listen to the subtle messages, the subtle cues, to what Spirit wants to stick out, not what everybody else wants to stick out for me. Does that make sense? So I don't like to muck up the waters with my thoughts, and that's why everything is pure with me. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I don't need to know. You know? Alright, so I'm going to pull a couple cards. So these cards, hang on. These are one of my newer decks that I've barely used, and I used it on myself last night, and I really, really, really enjoyed the interpretation of them and how they were coming across, so I'm going to use them again today. And then they're wanting me to pull Starseed Oracle, 3 of these. 1, flip, 2, flip, nope, 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 hang on, 3, okay. So let's see what the cards have to say. So I kind of like these messages in the middle of the night. It's quieter for me here. The energy is good. Aww. 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 Okay, I like this one. The first one I got is Family and Tribe. Family and Tribe. I pulled this one last night in regards to my twin flame. I asked where he stands with me, and I got that. That was one of the ones I've got. Okay. And then we've got entrapment. Right? Like he was it was entrapment. That's exactly what was happening. He was being trapped. All the tentacles, that's exactly what I described to you guys, okay? And then, this is no joke, have faith with the cross. And I'm hearing Mary Magdalene here. It's like Jesus, right? The Jesus connection. Have faith. And there was divine intervention. And I have to realize that. It's like, as much as it was hurting me and I was scared and I didn't know what was happening, my physical vessel was dying. So I actually got sick. Then they thought I had COVID. I couldn't go to work. Like, this was taking me down, and I kept begging for help. It affected my job, but I'm starting to feel better, and I'm thankful. And so there's that have faith, the divine intervention. And look at the 2-2. So 2-2 was a twin flame number for me. 4444, you guys, right when I said that, which is another twin flame thing they're saying. 22224444. Okay, so that's a message coming in for me. 224444. That's telling me something's coming. Okay. Balance to the rockiness, basically, I think is what I'm getting out of that one. Okay. Sorry, you see what I mean? Because I pay attention to the subtle cues. But anyways, family and tribe was being entrapped. I must have faith, right? Like, breath of the cosmos. It's completely supported. We're not alone. My will to thy will, micromanaging the universe. It's like, I'm not in control of the universe, and so I have to remember that. However, I have to have faith that I'm definitely guided and redirected and supported, because I've seen it happen. So I was begging. I saw you guys seen it in my videos, calling for help, begging for help, and then I got that meditation. It's like they had to figure out what they're going to do and come up with a plan. I feel like that's what they did. And then they worked through me, and we were able to save my twin flame. So if you ever want to question if I love him, I don't think you can. 555. I went through hell. And I grew in love for this man through that hell. And I pulled him out of it. And we did save him. And he was being entrapped. Okay? And so my physical vessel feels so much better in such a way that I have faith that it's okay now, even though they're 2 doors down. Like, something shifted. And I know they did not sever that connection. I know that he is being healed. And so we're acknowledging that as well. And then this is about Earth School. So this is another part of the message I wanted to give you guys. Is spiritual school is different than anything else you will ever experience. Nobody on the outside is going to have the answers that are specific for you. They can have little cues that you need. They can have some things that you need. Like when you ask for answers, it doesn't mean that they may not be the one coming through with that answer for you. But what I mean is that you're the one who can direct what's coming in for you, and how it's going for you, and what's available to you. Does that all make sense? Like, spiritual school was different. So everybody on my outside environment, if I would have expressed what I was going through, would have completely thought I was crazy, and still kind of do. And I couldn't be like, oh my God, this is happening, what is happening? And the very few people that I did try to express it to still didn't understand it. Earth school is different. Spiritual school is different. It's subtle, it's quiet, it takes moments and time. So when we ask for something, it may not be an instant that we get it. It may come down the road. Breath of the cosmos. You can't micromanage. Things have to go into motion and circle around and come back to you. And if there's any blocks, that determines how long it takes. Okay? Or stagnant energy, or so on and so forth. And so Earth School is in such a way of, if you're not tuning in to what's inside of you, you're not getting the lessons that are for you. Okay? And that's the best way I could put that. Life lessons, soul growth, study, higher learning. And that's what this is all about, you guys. And so they're saying to not look at this as a tragedy, but to look at this as a part of Earth School. And that's why I came on to do this message. This makes so much sense. And that's why Spirit's saying what they're saying. It's like, why are you in judgment? Is it because I don't have a title? Right? It's about higher learning. It's about higher learning of the fact that, wow, there is darkness. And see how quickly it kind of took over and stopped the union of a twin flame divine connection that comes from the heavens above. Stopped the bringing down of God's light and love right before we ascend. Didn't stop it. We saved it. We're calling back that light. But it happens like that. It's like it gets in our head. And it allows we allow those thoughts to take over and change our actions. And that's what happened with him. It would get in his head. And what allowed that is his fear that I was going to hurt him again. And that's what Spirit is telling me. And every time I say that, I get chills. And I hope to God he looks through all of this and learns that I cannot hurt him. I saved him. Damn it. I saved him while he was hurting me. To the umpteenth degree. So anybody else would be like, bye-bye, right? If that was not my twin flame, I'd be like, bye-bye. You're hurting me. You're done. Like, no, I went in, I would die for this person. And I was. Okay, so then final card we have is your life is a canvas. Let's get to creating what is ours, okay? Artist, manifestation, creative, accountability. So it is about being accountability for our truths, right? Like, oh my gosh, like, I've been in judgment. Judgment is a lower vibration. Like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this, and maybe that's why I'm not manifesting where I need to manifest. Maybe that's what's blocking it. Maybe I'm standing in confusion and judgment. And why do that? It's like I sit in such a place of nowhere and I allow what's for me to come for me. If it doesn't make sense, I give it time and space and ask for clarity. And then it always comes when it needs to come. It's like, go internal, not external. Let's listen to what we need to listen to. Okay? My family, my tribe was being held in captivity. I didn't lose faith because I was begging for help, and I allowed myself to bring that help through me, because it didn't come from external, did it? It came from me. So I allowed myself to process and bring through what Spirit wanted me to bring through, just like I do everything else. And I didn't do that from a place of thoughts. I did that from a place of stillness and nowhere. Okay? So if I was being detrimental, my vibration was so low, and I was just doing that thing, that woe is me, I would have missed everything I needed to do to bring myself out of it. Remember, because I was pushing through. And so it's like, be careful how we're looking at things. Remember, it's like we can't micromanage, okay? We can't think we know all the answers, because we don't always know the answers. It is super important to have faith in the higher realms, the higher powers, because I have been shown more times than one that is absolutely real, and God is real, and God's love is real, and we're going to still bring it down. What is happening is, so they had to rearrange some things, that's what I'm hearing, and they're kind of like almost pushing something back a little bit, because we have to have time now, and I hope to God we can still bring this down. But Spirit is saying they rearranged, they like went higher up permissions, they redid some things, they rewrote a few things, and it's going to be alright. Okay, and we're calling back our light that was given to the wrong places. But in the meantime, it is super important to protect your energy, because right now there's an imbalance, you guys. Okay, and so this is super important. It is truly important. There is an imbalance right now. And so we've got to be mindful of our energy. Stay within, not without. Stay out of your head, because that's how the darkness gets in. They get in your thoughts. Stay out of your head. Stay in your heart. Go with what your heart feels. Because the surface may present one way. That's what she was doing. She was taking my light and presenting as me, basically. And what he was looking for, he literally shoved and was killing. Because of it. And that deep love that he supposedly had for me quickly went away. And so, you guys, we have to look at these things. We have to stand in nothingness and not judgment. Or we can be in trouble. And you can watch these things unfold in my life. I'm not making them up. They're right there for you to see. It's like, what title do I need? What title do I need for people to not think I'm just crazy, or that I have an education, or that I am beyond what the normal actual thought processing does? So when I put my mind to something and I want to do something, I do it like that. It's like not usually hard for me, and it bothers me when people think I just don't know things, or you know what I mean? It's like, but that's not on me. And that's the thing. It's not on me. And I've still done what I needed to do. And I've allowed everybody to kind of come to where they need to come to. But the fact of the matter is nobody's really listening. Some people are. So let me reiterate that, right? Some of you are. A good chunk of you are, especially the ones that follow me and work with me. But even some of you are even afraid to comment on my posts. And so they're recognizing that too. If you notice, there's only a select few, and Spirit is saying, because people are in judgment. And I don't care. You don't have to comment on my posts if you don't want to. It doesn't bother me. My thing was not about monetary. My thing was about being who I am and doing what I needed to do for the ascension. But, when I've sat there and said things repeatedly, Spirit said things repeatedly, and then somebody chose to not listen to me and ended up hurting me severely, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing to miss this mark. These were not good things. It's going to be okay. Everything's forgivable. And we have to heal it and bring back the balance, which they are doing. That is what Spirit says is happening. They are returning that balance, and then we will move forward. And I'm also being protected severely, so until that's cleared out, that's what's happening as well. And they are acknowledging that, so I will keep you guys posted on that. Because with that being 2 doors down, without that I wouldn't be safe. I wasn't safe. And so something will shift. And so I will keep you guys posted on that with what happens around my external environment, and let you know. Because they cannot remain that way. Yeah, this person's like dissolving out of the environment, and it has to happen. So there's that. And all I'm asking is you guys still love me, don't hate me, and don't judge this message. But Spirit was a little bit stressed out, because when you have to bypass a plan that was created through the cosmos, like literally, it's a big deal. It's not a little deal. And we missed that mark, which was a big deal. It's not detrimental. I think we can still fix it. Spirit is still saying there's other avenues. There's a new way. That's what they're saying. There is a new way already laid out. So we're going to have faith in that. But it's super important. Okay. So there is a new way laid out, but it doesn't mean that there's not going to get a little bumpy now. All right. So super important to put up your protection, your bubbles. Do not micromanage. Go within and just stay in the now here. Listen to the subtle cues, and that's what you work off of. You listen to the subtle movements, and that's what you work off of. You listen to the messages that are coming for you that feel absolutely right, that open up for you, and that's what you work off of. Not the external, and not those things that get in your head that tell you otherwise. Okay? Because when we're in the spiritual world, there isn't a lot of thoughts to it. Okay, there really isn't a lot of thoughts to it. Only when we're processing, Spirit says, do we go into that brain space and kind of download everything that it was. And so keep that in mind, right? It's like just something will come in and then we feel it and we move it. So it's more in feelings, not in thoughts. More in feelings, not in thoughts. So that's a really good part of that message. It's more in feelings, not in thoughts. Okay? And so this is not a low vibrational message. I'm not drinking 2 in the morning this time. I do see things a little more clearly because I've had time to process them. So that meditation was not designed by me. It was channeled through me, brought through me. And I processed everything because it was actually about me a lot too, because of my twin flame. So keep that in mind. So this, all that you've seen, the other video that you've seen, is also me processing and trying to understand what just happened to my physical vessel, my spiritual light. And that is what happened. And somehow I still love this person. I just need them to make everything all right. And so there is that aspect. Okay, love can conquer all. It is not on my end. I'm not the one who got lost. And that's what Spirit's asking you all to do, is to please stay internal, or it can be easily get lost, apparently. I guess that's the only thing I'm questioning, is if that love was so deep, how did he so easily get so taken away? But he was being entrapped, so if I am who I am, I have to recognize that maybe that darkness was pretty powerful as well, right? She looks like a not such a yucky thing on the light because she's not, but maybe with the darkness side she's pretty powerful. And so we got to recognize that. It's like it's easy for those things to come and take in. And I've said that, just like they did with religion, just like they did with everything, right? It's like it just kind of comes in and changes the blueprint. And we can't allow that to happen. We were supposed to change the blueprint of love, and it got blocked a little bit. But we're going to make it all right. Have to. That was an important marker that cannot be missed. It's not just about me receiving love, you guys. It was about bringing down the next mark for the ascension. Higher vibrational love. Okay? And so, even through this, we still got to figure a way. And it's going to be all right. You can see it now, what happens in reality, what Spirit will do when things go awry. You can see it all, and it's not just me talking about it, because you can see it, you guys. Look at my channel. Like, I will have messages, and then all of a sudden a meditation will come through like a week later that matches up with the message I gave a week before. Like, they're all laid out for you. And I don't know they're coming. They just come, and we get like the precursor and then the thing, like the time one, right? Like I had channeled a message that the removal of time was coming up, and then the next thing I knew, like a few days later, I did a channeled meditation on the removal of time. The twin flame message came up, and then a few days later, I did a channeled meditation and connected to my twin flame. Like all of these things have been laid out. You can see them come through channeling, and then you can see me do them in the meditations. It's like, okay, this is what's coming next, and this is what happens, and I can see it now. When I'm in the midst of doing it, I couldn't see that at first, because it's not planned that way. These things are just happening, you guys. It's kind of cool. And so these are not just about simple messages, you guys. This is literally the world changing in front of your eyes, learning the newness of the reality, in which you now find yourself, and how easy it is for things to go awry. And to allow things to come in. Look, it's like the puppeteer. That's what was happening to him. And she was using my light to do it. That's the fucked up thing. So it was almost like he was being mirrored, that he was like with me. Being with her. And that's the horrible thing. You guys, these things are real. You know, those Ghost Adventure shows kind of make them like, hee hee hee. But darkness is very real. So seriously, be careful what you're anchoring into. And please listen to my messages. Because if my delivery is not to your liking, and maybe I need to be more fake and influential like those influencers do, I'm not like that. I'm going to be real, and I'm going to be vulnerable, and everything I go through, I'm presenting for you. And that's the reality of it. And this is the real tools of this is what we can do. Okay? So please listen to my messages, because I am shown again how accurate I am, how right they are, and how important they truly are. And how they're not just about me. It's not about ego. It's about the whole thing. And being divinely connected, I suppose, is hard. Because it's hard for people to fathom what I have coming through, I suppose. Okay? So much love to all of you. I may go back to bed. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. But I feel like I got a good message out. So please, please, please come at this message with love and light. And just an openness. Because Spirit needs to make things right. Like Spirit had to go really hard and rewrite some things and get permissions, and it was like a big deal. It was like a big deal in the midst of a battle, right? It was a bigger battle in the midst of a battle. They did not expect him to do that, and so that's what hurts me the most. But you know, entrapment is very real, and it doesn't just happen on a physical level. It happens in the spiritual world as well. Remember the narcolepsy, fallen angel. Like, I kept remembering. So, yeah, now I'm getting these messages more and more. My poor baby twin flame has been struggling a lot. And the struggle has been real with him. And so I can only hope and pray that it's going to be all right. Have faith. There was divine intervention, and that's what they told me. And I feel better. My physical vessel feels better. Yesterday I started to feel him. We're starting to mend that connection. And so I feel like they have kind of created and designated a new pathway. And so let's just kind of keep our eyes peeled for what's coming next, right? And actually listen to the messages I give. Hasta la vista. Till next time.